My question is following up on what you just said. What do we do about the security in Israel if Israel were to perform like withdrawal and withdraw from the territories? You would have rockets able to hit Ben Gurion Airport very easily. And the second question on top of that is, what would you do with the Jews who live inside of Judea and Samaria and the east side of Jerusalem who want to stay regardless if the state is Jewish or if they have to live as Jews as a minority in the Palestinian state?
Jason, of course, has asked two very simple questions that I will try to, at time I have to give you the answer. What does Ra'ut say? Remember, Ra'ut is non-political, is looking at reframing the questions with young people and trying to give original answers. Let's take it bit by bit. Part of the relevant gap in Israel's security, Ra'ut says, is Israel has put all its power into hard power. Hard power being tanks, hard power being Air Force, hard power, as they say in Israel, something in Dimona. But we've learnt in the Middle East that the hard power of Mubarak lasted 3 days. He lost the power without firing a shot. Now we're living in a world where if you only have hard power and you have a 24-hour news service, you can't use the hard power. So Israel's whole vision of security from Ben Gurion was, we will not allow enemy to attack Israel. We will always attack first. We'll have the reserves in 2 or 3 days, and we cannot afford that somebody will invade Israel. This worked very well to 2006. In 2006, one of our bitterest enemies, Sheikh Nasrallah in the Hezbollah, said, Israel is like a spider's web. We will attack it in the center. We will not attack it where it's strong. We will not fight the Air Force and we will not fight the army. All we need to do is put old missiles into Sderot, into Tel Aviv, Israel will crumble. Because Israel public are not ready for the home front. Very similar to people in America in the 11th of September 2001. How can a superpower be attacked in America? So all the Israeli mindset was, we have to have hard power. But today hard power is not, I don't misunderstand me, I'm not saying you should give up one tank, give up one airport, or Dimona, I'm saying it's not enough. And Ra'ut in 2007 said Israel has to rethink its defense vision and build communities of resilience inside the Israeli town. Now Jason, you should know, today as we speak, there is an Arab missile aimed at every single town in Israel. Not Ben Gurion, on the borders that we're in. In other words, Greater Israel does not help us against a missile attack anyway. And I think that we're not the British people. When the Churchill promised them blood, sweat and tears, it's going to be worse. We're not the Blitz of London. So we're in a situation where Ra'ut said we have to change the mindset and create NGOs and create a civilian society which is ready inside every town that if anything happens, we can find a way to survive, and we cannot put all the responsibility on the Israeli government. And I'm very happy to tell you that Ra'ut's position paper was chosen and taken, and Bibi Netanyahu has now created a minister in charge of the civilian defense of Israel, and they're moving monies from the hard power to the soft power. But your question is, we don't have to go back to 67 borders to have a missile in every town in Israel. Today we have a missile in every town. And those of you who know the story of Sderot, the missiles that were fired into Sderot were not super missiles. They were old missiles, but they hit Sderot. So that problem is there, and we're trying to solve it. But one, having the home front for the new thinking. Your second question is more important. Israel, Ra'ut suggests to Israel that the only peace plan that will be accepted at the end of the day are the Clinton Accords of 2000. At the end of 2000 in Camp David, the Clinton Accord is the base for any decision on the Israeli-Palestinian front. The Clinton Accords say Israel will be strong in the 67 borders. It will have 80% of the settlers on the West Bank inside enclaves accepted in the Israeli state, and we'll have to move 50,000 and not 300,000. Okay? America will go for the Clinton Accord, which allows a change of territory. We will give them back 90% of the West Bank, but we'll take 10% maybe of the Negev and give part of that to them, but we'll have 80% of the settlers inside Israel. Raoult thinks that's the best we're going to get. Okay? Raoult thinks the longer this goes on, the harder it's going to be. Our problem is that inside the West Bank we have people who think God will change the demographics. That's a problem. Now, you can argue with me, you can agree with me, you can disagree with me, I'm just giving you the facts the way they are. I would suggest to Guy and to you that 80% of the Israeli public would agree with what I say. That the final solution is a two-state solution under the Clinton Accord. But first of all, we have to create a home defense. We have to understand, I think you don't understand that. They are firing missiles into Beersheba. 150,000 people live in Beersheba. Beersheba never knew they could fire missiles into Beersheba. Because Beersheba thought we have the super Israeli army. It can't happen. You're going to fire a missile into Beersheba. Or fire a missile into Ashkelon. Or fire a missile into Ashdod. In other words, we now have a situation where people can fire missiles into major Israeli towns. What do we do? What do we do? We kill all of Gaza. We're living in a world where soft power is more important than hard power. Now the next piece I'm going to give you is very difficult for this audience. But I feel I have to give you the truth. We're also very worried who is going to lead the world. Will America still be in a situation to be the peacemaker in another 30 years? At the Herzliya conference in Israel, there was a very interesting session, the shifting of power from the west to the east. And at that session was a woman from India, a man from China, and people from Singapore and Hong Kong and Israel. And the woman from India and the man from China says, let there be no mistake. I don't know if you're aware how much America owes to China. $3-4 trillion. The Chinese and the Indians said, we want to sit at the top of the world table. But we're not America. We have no interest in being the peacekeeper of the world. We have no moral claim to anything. It's not America who goes into Libya. Or America who thinks what happened in Yugoslavia was horrible. Or America that tries to do something in Darfur and Africa. We have no ideas on that. We just want to sit at the top of the table. So Israel's saying if we don't get peace in the foreseeable future where America is strong, who is going to help us to get this peace? So I don't think, as Bob Dylan said, the times are changing. We're living in a different world. We have to understand, we have to find a solution which gives us legitimacy of the State of Israel and gives us 80% of the settlers and enclaves accepted by the world. And if we wait, that won't be there. Now that doesn't solve your problem. Because there'll always be missiles. There is no way of taking the missile threat out of Israel. In 10 years, in 20 years, there'll be missiles on every city in America. Because it's getting worse and worse. So we want to go forward. And I'll tell you an anecdote which I think you'll find interesting. Do you remember Yitzhak Rabin? Yitzhak Rabin, I really, really like, and I was there when he was killed, but Rabin was a very doer is a Scottish word, a very stern man who thought analytically. And Rabin in 1993 signed the Oslo Accord. But Rabin signed you remember the Oslo Accord? Rabin signed the Oslo Accord and said, Oslo is like Swiss cheese, it's full of holes. Good Swiss cheese. I was in a group of youngish kibbutzniks, you're much younger, who met with Rabin in 1994 and said to Rabin, Mr. Prime Minister, if you